Good afternoon, everybody. It is mostly sunny, 75 degrees. Hope everybody's doing okay. Today I need to get this disclaimer out for this today. I thought it was done with Aiden Hale, like most people. Not done with like just get out my life. I don't need to, It's still a story, but not a story like most people are telling. This does have a disclaimer that I need to put up for fair use. It's going to be a pretty deep day this time. I also want to put up a warning that contains some graphic stuff and it could be disturbing. So let's get started with this. Pay attention, everybody. We're going down a rabbit hole.
No official motive in the case of the 28-year-old who killed 6 people at the Christian school she once attended in Nashville. But one theory holds that she had targeted this man, the church's lead pastor, who's said to have been counseling her. He wasn't there at the time, but his 9-year-old daughter was, and she became one of the victims. Ann Mercogliano has more.
Was the Nashville shooter targeting the school pastor and his family? Inside Edition has learned that Audrey Hale, who was transgender, was believed to be having counseling sessions with Chad Scruggs. He was counseling her?
What I'm hearing, he was providing counseling for her, and something didn't sit right with her.
Remember this guy right here. He's going to be very important to our story. He is the former pastor of the school church. So he will be very important later on in the story. So please remember him.
Former Covenant School pastor Jim Bachman says Hale appeared to be searching for Scruggs when she went through the school. She shot Scruggs' 9-year-old daughter, Hallie, dead.
If she had found Chad, if she'd have tried to kill him, maybe she'd have left the daughter alone.
The former pastor also revealed he knew Audrey Hale when she attended the school nearly 20 years ago.
So the times he knew her, this guy right here, he's the former pastor of the school. He would have known her when she was 8 years old. Very important to remember.
Very normal, happy-go-lucky little girl that liked to play kickball with the boys.
And law enforcement experts are studying that daring police raid that took down the shooter and noting the sharp contrast with the failure of the police to save lives in Uvalde, Texas last May. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed at the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. Here's how cops in Nashville raced upstairs 2 at a time to confront the killer. Contrast that with police in Uvalde standing and waiting as victims lay dying.
Please put your gun down, sir. Please don't hurt anyone else.
In Uvalde, we see multiple officers on the scene, and they're not entering the classroom. They're in the hallway. They know where the shooter is. He's still firing, but they're waiting.
The Nashville police officers entered the building here, rapidly checking classrooms on the first floor. The sound of gunfire above them sent them racing to the second floor. That's where they took down the shooter who was firing from this cathedral window, all in just 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
The amount of courage it takes to go into that building and confront the unknown. You've got a shooter who's armed, a shooter who's shooting people, but also maybe the most dangerous of adversaries, right? Someone who's not afraid to die.
And actress Melissa Joan Hart, star of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, now lives near the school. She choked up telling how she and her husband helped children flee.
We helped all these tiny little kids cross the road and get their teachers over there, and we helped a mom reunite with her children. And I don't know what to say anymore. It is just enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I hope you guys were paying attention to that, because He's going to play a very important role here. This is straight up what Aiden wrote in a book cover, a devotional book cover that was loaned. Who loans a book to their kid, right? You just give it to them from the mother. Now, I know there's a lot of you right now who are going, stop calling him Aiden. His name is Audrey. Look, you call this person whatever you choose to do so. But I am choosing to do the right thing. As a veteran at the VA hospital, we were taught by the VA to honor the human existence of another human, and at the least we could honor by their names and what they choose to be called. We do not have to disgrace them, embarrass them, just to respect another human being. That is all. A very simple thing to do. And so, for that reason, I will refer to this person as Aiden Hale. A body part does not make you what you are. That can be proven on so many levels. If you're a teacher, none of your body parts made you a teacher. As the President of the United States, none of your body parts made you the President of the United States. A football player isn't made a football player by his body parts. I mean, let's be realistic about this here. There's only really 2 times in your life that your body part dominates what's going on. And one of them is the bathroom, going to the bathroom, how you go. But that's also the same as dogs. The male dogs tend to lift their leg up. The female dogs tend to just stand forward. Wow. Sounds just like, a simple act. The other time, well, I'm just not going to talk about it because this isn't about sex. We're not having it. We're not showing a movie about it. We're not talking about the medical whatever here. I'm just not talking about that. But it is a point to bring up that Aiden, when going into the school, chose to wear camouflage pants, white t-shirt, black vest, but camouflage pants. And I found that interesting. I mean, I went deep here on researching this stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and the camouflage pants is kind of him hiding this part from his waist down, even if only to himself. You got to stop thinking about yourself on this. You can stand out in the world and say, cuss Aiden, call him all kinds of names, just brutal. Just be brutal and unhuman to him. You can be that. But there's something here much deeper that caused this act other than calling a person he or she something beyond male or female, something that rocked this person's very existence in this world. And that plays truth with all of us. We need to, this was a bad thing done, no doubt about it. I do not believe that the children were shot on in a way that, I don't know, maybe on purpose. I don't think so. I think he's looking around for someone. You can tell in the video. Walks in a room, looks around. He's not just looking for anybody. He goes down the hallway doing the same things. It's in the video. Pay attention. He's not just walking in every room, shooting up the doors and all that. He is on a mission and he is looking for someone. And we do not know how it came about that the children got in the way, but they did somehow. And he did a terrible act. And that's how that is. But in this horrible act, there's still Aiden. And Aiden was a human being. And something happened to Aiden. Something happened to Aiden that made Aiden break. That left Aiden with nowhere to go. Something that your soul just runs out. I put this up here because Aiden did love God. I believe that. And if you think about it, the very window to where he was taken down is right near the door to the chapel. So I believe he probably might have been going there next. To God's house. I don't know. He may have. He may not have. We will never know that. You all look at these pictures and you make assumptions about everything. When the transgender subject came out about Aiden, it sounded like Aiden was recently identified as transgender. From the way news people report it, but that doesn't mean anything because they might not have it right. Might not have it right at all. So let's take a look at some of this story before we get into the heart of it. This is one of the victims right here. This is the only, hold on, my screen is stupid. The only female victim of the children. This is, oh no, it's not the only one. I'm sorry. This is Evelyn Dieckhaus, 9 years old, was one of the victims shot by transgender Audrey Hale. She opened fire at the private Christian school. I just wanted to make sure I got that right. I couldn't see to remember how to say her last name, which is very difficult. Here is Hallie. Scruggs is seen here with her father. She's very important in this story. This is the current pastor at this story. And please pay attention that this is the only girl he has. He is the pastor at the Presbyterian church affiliated with the school. And this is the only female child he has. The rest are boys. Here is Will Kinney. He was shot along with Hallie Scruggs and Evelyn Dieckhaus. So Dieckhaus. All three of them were 9. We have the current principal or the head of the school. I don't think they call them principals anymore, but Katherine Koonce, head of the school, and she was among those that died by Hale. I've heard a story that went around that she approached Hale in an effort to put a stop to her. And I don't think that just wasn't, I don't know if it's true. So allegedly she approached her to stop it. This is the new head of the school, but this is not the pastor, the head pastor, the senior pastor, or whatever. That's a guy. This lady right here is a substitute teacher. Her name is Cynthia Peak, and she is 61. And let's look at another side of Aiden. This is pictures of Aiden Hale obtained by, the Daily Mail.com. They showed Aiden dressed up as trans star Elliot Page from Juno in Hale's freshman year. So, yeah, that's Audrey Hale right there. And then we're talking about this movie right here, Juno. And if you do not know that Elliot Page previously went by Ellen before he transitioned to a male. So for you guys that are looking at the pregnant person on the screen, that is a transgender person, Ellen Page, that is no longer Ellen Page, no longer a female, but transitioned to a male. And that's who Hale was dressing up for Spirit Week at school for way back in her younger days, I guess. Here's the picture over there, which she kind of looks like her in a way in the face at this time of Juno. So that's interesting. We have this picture in our head that, Hale, was some tall, overpowering type creature or something. This is a very small little person. I mean, this is not a big hunking, just powerful person. This Aiden Hale, even though you're looking at this picture and it's an upper camera, but Aiden is small. Aiden is really, skinny, short, small. It could pass for a child. And this is when the went to the home where they found the other weapons and all kinds of other stuff. Pretty much, they said she had 7 in. He had 7 7 in total. So that means they took 4 more out of here. So there's nothing wrong. I just was taking a quick thought. Let me get some drink here. Now on to, I need people to be more open-minded. And you need to be, because the stuff I'm about to say is truth. Possibly brought out by the very person that did it. Allegedly. If me saying allegedly makes it better, well then okay. Allegedly. I guess everything in this video then would be allegedly. Wouldn't it? I mean, we get pictures and we hear things on the news. But how do we know that the news is telling us the truth? Do we know? Do we know it all? Or we just accepting it because the news told us so? Why is the Covenant School trying so hard to keep their name out of this story? Why are they trying to keep the manifesto under wraps? Why is the Covenant School not wanting that manifesto to be brought to the light? The manifesto should have been released already, and maybe it has. Maybe it hasn't. You don't know? Why not? Did the news not tell you so? Did Inside Edition not tell you what you wanted to hear? Do you remember this man I told you about? I told you earlier to watch this man. Remember his face. Look in the background at all the pictures. Go ahead, get a look at him. Get a real good look at him. See, this is the former pastor. His name is Jim Bachman. Bachman. Bachman, like, I guess, Bachman candy, if that makes it easier to remember or say. Bachman. Bach. That's how I say it. If I'm wrong and I'm saying it wrong, please forgive me. But this is him. Where's the current pastor? Why is Bachman telling Inside Edition that Pastor Scruggs, who is the current pastor, had been providing her with counseling? Hale's 28 years old. Adding that she appeared to be searching the school. Are you sure? Are you sure you heard me when I said Jim, former pastor of the Covenant School said, Jim Bachman said, that it appeared to him as if Hale was searching the school. Then you go back and look at the video. Does it look like Aiden is looking for someone? Or does it look like she's on a mission to kill anyone? You really stop hating. Stop hating just to hate. If you're a person that hates LGBTQ people for 1 minute of your life, I don't care if anybody else knows, or you're just totally against it, get past that and just look at the video and for yourself. Does it appear, just take it with the basics, does it appear that Aiden Hale is searching for someone? Yet their current pastor is not on the screen telling us that. It's the former pastor, Jim Bachman. And he says the shooter appeared to be searching for Chad Scruggs while going through the school. But she did shoot and kill his 9-year-old daughter, Hallie. The only girl was the daughter of Chad Scruggs. I'm sorry I'm not possibly saying his name right. Please forgive me for that, but it's Scruggs, Scruggs. So was Adrian shooting, targeting a pastor and his family attack on the school? Well, guess what? Inside Edition learned that Aiden Hale was believed to be having counseling sessions with Chad Scruggs. What they put out there was, Jim Buchanan says, what I'm hearing, he was providing counseling for Hale and something just didn't sit right with Hale. That came from the Covenant pastor, it says former Covenant school pastor, Jim Bachman. Hear what he says? What I'm hearing is he was providing counseling for Hale and something didn't sit right with Hale. That is a whole lot of information. That is just a whole lot of stuff to be saying out of the blue. I mean, he then goes on to say, if Hale found Chad Scruggs and tried to kill him, I don't know if Hale would have left his daughter alone. This is Bachman saying this, the former pastor of the school. Former pastor. He is not anything to do with this church or this school anymore. He's talking like he, is still in charge of something. He doesn't even go to this church anymore. So, just ride with me here a second, people. If you're upset, slow down, take a few breaths, and get a hold of this here. I'm not saying allegedly about what's being said from him, because he said it out of his mouth. What is my source? Oh my God. Okay. Inside Edition showed it today, last night, and the night before. These are his words. Yes, they are. This is the words, quote, quote, by Buchanan himself, because he describes Hale as a very normal, happy-go-lucky, I like to play kickball with the boys. Hmm. That's a lot of information, isn't it? But, we're not done with this. Let's talk a little bit about Hale. I keep wanting to call her Haley. I guess I feel like the Haley part is just, I don't know. She feels like a Haley. That's just my personal thought on it. If you want to, believe this is all alleged with no facts, go to any website, type in the pastor's name, the reverend's name, all of that stuff, the church's background or whatever. Go ahead, because I don't care if you don't believe it. You know why I don't? Because I don't do lives like other people do, lives that just to appease you. I'm going to talk about the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. And I'm not talking about the shooter. I'm going to talk about the shooter, all of it, the good and the bad. Did I report the bad stuff? Yes. Did I talk about the content creators who, made fun and did this and put in bad news of people that aren't even related to this person at all? Yes. Did I talk as bland about this person, Aiden Hale, as not a person at all? Just call him a person? Oh, there's nothing human about that. Now, is there? Well, Hayden says. I'm just being funny right there, reacting to some of y'all and how you're so uptight that you can't think for one person has any feelings. That right now is what you feel about Aiden Hale. That it's disgusting and he doesn't have feelings and he went in there and mutilated people. It's like the worst horror movie you've ever heard. Well, the Nashville shooting suspect, Audrey Hale, became infatuated with a late schoolmate and reportedly posted about the woman online in the months leading up to Monday's massacre. Hale's former classmate, Hardcastle, has spoken out about the impact that the death of Sydney Sims appears to have had on the 28-year-old. That the police go on to say killed 3 small children and 3 staff members in the week's horror mass shooting. Okay, Sims, a 27-year-old former basketball teammate of Hale, was involved in a head-on car crash last August in Nashville. Come on, people. Let's get down to the humanity here. The crash killed another woman before Sims died 1 week later from her injuries. The online obituary for Sims reveals Hale had left a message and sent a gift to the family. With much love to the family, I will miss my dear friend Sydney forever. Rise up, Queen. You are free. Hale wrote that. Members of the Sims family declined to comment. Miss Hardcastle, who attended Isaiah T. Cresswell Middle School of the Arts and Nashville School of the Arts with both Hale and Sims, told NBC News that Hale seemed to struggle to cope in the aftermath of Sims' death. However, she said she does not believe that Hale and Sims were close. Instead, she believed that Hale admired and was infatuated with Sims. She says Audrey definitely admired Sydney. She told the New York Post that Hale was posting about Sims' death on social media almost every day. That after the tragic death of Sydney, Audrey was really heartbroken over it. I just feel like she took it different than some of us did. She was still posting about Sydney's almost every day. What I knew of her was more admiring Sydney, maybe even infatuation. And that's specifically who she really, really looked up to. You see, this monster you all have picked out has feelings and is a person. She goes on to say that she added, I don't think she was with anyone, quote unquote. She was just kind of by herself. I don't think that they were very close, but I think Aiden looked up to her like she looked up to Sydney. But I don't know that it was ever like a two-way thing, you know? Love this code talk, don't you? That's code talk right there. They might have been together, but I don't know because it never seemed like a two-way thing. Maybe they were friends and you're asking me about it and one of them's deceased. Now both of them, I don't know. Don't ask me. We've all been put in that situation at least once in our life. But in one TikTok video, which has been taken down, Hale reportedly posted a clip of a person bouncing a basketball. Hold on. For Sid, I looked up and the sky is bright. It's a beautiful star. I wish you were here, the post read, along with the dedication to Sid. A former teacher also confirmed that she's seen some of Hale's social media posts where the soon-to-be school shooter repeatedly spoke about Sim's death. A lot of comments about you were all that mattered, and I miss you forever. That was said by Hale's art school instructor. Miss Comey had previously told the New York Times that the shooter was openly grieving someone she admired to regard as a romantic partner on Facebook. Let me try that again for y'all. Aiden, but there's also a prize to Audrey. Someone else said that the shooter was openly grieving someone she appeared to regard as a romantic partner on Facebook. And that may be true. Hale had announced the bereavement and asked to be addressed as Aiden and by masculine pronouns from then on. That is the wish. Do you get that now? When trans people come out, they tell their friends or they tell people they're close to that exact thing right there. That's when it starts. Oh, what am I supposed to do right now? When do you want me to call you? When they tell you that, that means from right now till forever. And Hale did that. Hale did that according to the New York Times, as she was openly grieving for someone she appeared to be as a romantic partner. So there's a lot going on in this young man's life. A death of a romantic partner, a year or so before. Whatever's going on with Jim Buchanan, we know what's going on. Police identified the suspect shooter by their name at birth. Birth certificate strikes again. Hale reportedly was a transgender man who used he, him pronouns, though law enforcement officials initially described the suspect as a woman in the aftermath of the shooting. Police did not provide another name, but on the suspect's social media accounts, they referred to them as Aiden. You see, the police just made a simple common mistake. All they know is they just shot somebody at that moment. Picking up a shirt, moving around, see if there's anything else, probably saw boobies. And now we have an assumption it's the male. They don't know all the facts yet. But when they did find out the facts about Aiden being transgender, female to male, then that immediately is what we are to call them. Even if it's a shooter, that is their right, even in death. Somebody sent me a comment the other day that corrected me and said I should say Audrey because Audrey's dead. I got news for you, honey. They're both dead. But Aiden and I'm sorry, I'm calling them what they requested. They said suspect social media accounts. They refer to themselves as Aiden. New York Times says this, and that's what I'll do. If you just want to be low down class, inhuman, and you're just doing it out of spite that you're going to call by the wrong pronouns, then that is just you. That is your take. It doesn't hurt you in any way. It doesn't. You're causing more of the confusion when the people that try to do the right thing by honoring that request to move forward in their transition, try to do the right thing, and you do the wrong thing by calling them out over and over and over. Oh, that's not a dude, that's a chick. Oh, that's not a dude, that's a chick. What the hell? You need to stop being so, I don't even know what word to call you besides utterly, just so much hate inside you. There's so much more things in this world to be, all crazy about than this. Miss Hardcastle told the Post that she saw Hale around a month ago, and they both attended the taping of her friend Patton's radio show. Patton, who also played basketball with Hale and Sims in high school, has revealed that while she had little contact with Hale after leaving school, the shooter sent her some chilling final messages minutes before the killing rampage. We all remember that. The girl was on TV or everywhere else talking about all the text she got. And that's who we're talking about here. All the text she got. So Miss Pat said that Hale sent her some messages on Instagram at 9:57 a.m. on Monday, issuing a dark warning that something bad is about to happen and telling her she would soon be reading about the upcoming events on the day that I die. Hale wrote, "One day this will all make sense. I've left behind more than enough evidence. That evidence is going to be in that manifesto. No ifs, ands, or buts." Miss Patton tried to get in touch with all kinds of people to, she knew Hale when she was a child. They didn't know each other in their adulthood, so she was surprised that Hale reached out to her. But, Miss Patton called the sheriff's office, the Nashville division. She called anybody and everybody she could call to let them know what she thought was going on. She didn't say about a shooting. She said, maybe she was trying to hurt herself. Did they think other things were going to happen in different places and have other targets? Yeah. We don't know what those targets are or why. The police strongly believed that there were going to be some other targets, including the family members. I strongly believe that too about the family members because, well, when you read about how inside her home she wasn't allowed to wear the clothes she had on in the school. She didn't have those on when she was at home. She had to leave her home in order to dress in the way that she felt comfortable as Aiden. In her home, she had to dress and pretend to be Audrey. Did you get that? Inside her home, the place where she sleeps, the place you're supposed to feel the safest, the most comfortable, had to be the most uncomfortable place for her. She couldn't even change her clothes. She had to leave her home, probably stop at a gas station and change her clothes in a bathroom. Hale's parents said if they had been aware of the stash of weapons and contacted law enforcement, but there was no red flag. There is no red flag law in Tennessee that could have been used to take the firearms away. Okay. Hale was an illustrator and graphic designer who had attended Northsea College of Art and didn't have a criminal record. You see, there was so much more to this 28-year-old young person than the videos you see of them just going into school and doing what happened. So much more. Think about that for a minute. Have it changed over the time frame of, being who you were when you were 5 and who you were when you're 28. What about 10? What about 15? Pick any year. Hmm. But, we haven't seen them. Anybody have anything to say about missing her, loving her, or anything about, is there anything at all? Well, that's your better look inside. There is a speaking out against the Covenant Presbyterian Church. Why is church trying to hide the manifesto? Why hasn't the new pastor, Scruggs, not come out and said anything? He lost his daughter. I mean, wasn't that enough? You lost your daughter and you don't have anything to say? You're the pastor. What happened about you being the rock for your congregation? Your congregation is falling apart. Your congregation is lost. And you're not being a shepherd. You know who we keep seeing in the news? Reverend Jim Bachman. He's on a lot of news channels. He's taken the lead on, the church and all that. People actually believe that he's the pastor of the church, but he's not. He's not he is a reverend, but he's not the reverend of that church anymore. And he hasn't been for, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 8 years. But so many people know him from there that they just, I don't know, the new people in the world don't know that he's not, or they don't know that he isn't. No one's told them that. So who is Reverend Jim Bachman? Do you remember in the beginning of this, I told you to remember that man's face in the video? Let me put it back up here for you so you don't get confused. This man, come on, computer. This man right here. He is not the reverend of the Covenant Church. He used to be. Now remember, he talks about the current pastor providing her with counseling and added that she was appearing to be searching for the current pastor. And so you may be thinking, well, that's the current pastor. Bachman isn't, the pastor there. So certainly she wasn't looking for him, was she? Who knows? We don't know how much time he spends at that church since he thinks he owns it. And as long as he was there, well, he did counseling. So goes back to my question earlier, Pastor Scruggs. You Buchanan says that Scruggs was providing her with counseling. She's 28 years old. You're not a doctor. Why would she trust you and not the doctors with her secrets? You would have been there, sir, from the time she was 8, from the time she was 8 years old until she was through a teenager, until she was old enough to leave on her own. And then there's the new pastor. And you're steadily pointing with no one asking you. You know how that is when people start blaming somebody for something, but they're not even asked. No one else is even asking. They're just pointing the finger at this person. But why? This guy right here is pointing his finger at this guy right here. The guy I told you to remember with the one daughter that got killed by Hallie. This guy's making all the appearances all over town, doing news reports, everything and all that. So, he shouldn't be involved in this at all. Why? Are you covering your ass for something? You can't get your church back. You know that. But why are you doing what you're doing? You're out of your bounds a little bit there, buddy. Well, let's go down the rabbit hole again. In 2016, Reverend, but let me make sure. Yeah, his face is up there. I'll make sure I left it up there. In 2016, Reverend Jim Buchanan, he's on your screen, lost his job as the top pastor of Covenant Presbyterian Church. He rose to prominence in Nashville under his leadership. His supporters are now speaking up about Bachman's firing. This was in 2018 when he got fired. And it wasn't just your fired leave and you left. Just hear me out. Because she's either looking for this man or the current pastor, the one I told you a while ago, either the young guy or this guy. Allegedly. How about that? Somebody out there giggling to themselves going, oh, he covered himself by saying allegedly. There's not. Look how you want to at it. His supporters are backing up Bachman's firing, which is preceded by the last 2 years of disunity in the Green Hills Church. They think he was unfairly treated, and they want those who still sit in the pews at Covenant, as well as the board community, to know about it. And this is why he's always in the news now. He's putting his face out there. He's all involved in this tragedy at this church, trying to make people forget about what happened in 2018. So you might as well put this as very close to the cuff happening as this very well, this thing that I'm talking about right now, very well could be the reason that all of this happened. He could be the reason everything happened. It may be the rabbit inside the manifesto. May all come out and point its finger right at him. He spends so much time at the church. Now, even though he has his own church, he spends so much time at the church that got rid of him that maybe Hale knew exactly where to find him, in the church. Maybe that's where he was going. Should have stayed at his own church instead of pressing his luck. But I don't know. I would like for the truth to come out. Rosenberg, a former church member, let people see what's really going on behind the scenes. Rosenberg, a former covenant elder, and another former church member are trying to bring it to light. I think this is the rabbit out the hat that nobody wants to talk about. This is why the Covenant Presbyterian Church do not want the manifesto to come out, and they are trying to hide it and keep it under wraps as best they can. Allegedly, or whatever, this is somebody's dirty laundry right here, and somebody did something bad, and you'll see why. Churches are infamous for covering up things. Catholic priests consult other Catholic priests, and they give their sins to another one. They go to confession themselves, and they protect each other. And I'm pretty sure other churches do that too. The pastor will go to another person. They don't do, like I do. When I do something bad, I go to God straight up. I don't need another person. But in other faiths, they'll go to a higher a priest, a pastor, a reverend, or whether, and they keep their own secrets. Some people just aren't willing to keep your secret and go to hell along with you. They can't change what you did, but they can get rid of your ass from doing it again. I think the covenant and regional denominational leaders are to blame for pushing Bachman out of the church. The guy founded this church 25 years ago. I love the Covenant Church, Rosenberg said. I think it's people, they're really new to the staff that have been going on without knowledge and consent. It would be horrifying them, and they would have rushed to work it out. You just got those that are just like, it's okay if you did something bad. You're not going to pay for it. Who cares if you stuck a Tootsie Roll inside a little kid's ear? Go ask God for forgiveness, and everything's okay. No, you don't have to tell the kid you're sorry. You take that to God. Y'all always want to attack Catholic preachers. Well, think about those things first. Okay, come on. Covenant Presbyterian Church declined to be interviewed, but they released a statement. And according to USA Today and the Tennessee Network, Reverend Jim Buchanan previously served as pastor of the Covenant Presbyterian Church, and now that he has a new church, our leadership and congregation wished him and his church members the very best, says John Bryant, our representative of Covenant Church. And today, the Covenant Church has a membership of conservative evangelical Presbyterian Church in America, has more than 1,000 members, and currently is led by an interim pastor, according to the church's website. Wow. That sounds all clean and good. You got that all cleaned up real good. But in the interview, Buchanan, who has since moved to another church, said he didn't want to go into specifics about the case. And he hopes something similar does not happen to future pastors. Hello? I'm sorry, what? He hopes something similar does not happen to future pastors. He says, I think there were some significant injustices, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. Oh, what do you mean? What are you talking about? The strife began in 2014 with conflicts and tensions among ministerial staff and convent elders, according to the church documents. What happened? There was nothing going on that truly just couldn't have worked out over a cup of coffee. Rosenberger said, remember, this is a member who's long-term and has a staff position. Now, there was nothing going on that truly couldn't be worked out over a cup of coffee. When you listen to all this and you tell me if a cup of coffee would, make it okay. Here, make it cocoa and put some marshmallows on top too. Rosenberg said, it would be one thing if there was some type of moral or financial or doctoral miscomment, but there was none of that. This was just personalities. It embedded and flowed throughout 2015 until Buchanan eventually offered to retire if the church would buy out the rest of his contract. Rosenberg said they had yet to agree on a settlement when it fell apart. Oh, I am sorry. I understand. What the hell? Eventually offered to retire if the church would buy out the rest of his contract? How can you... I guess this must not be my way to God. I don't collect funds. When people ask me questions or come to me for advice, I don't get a paycheck. What the? That's why I don't believe in paid pastors. I don't believe anybody that calls himself a man of God and gets paid to say that. You don't like that? Don't care. That's how it is. If you say you're a man of God and you're getting a ministry, if you're getting a check, I can't do it. No. I don't even think Catholic priests get paychecks. I think they get they live in a what do they call it? A dormitory at the church. I would pretty assume that the church buys their food. They live in church property. They have the church's car to use. It's not theirs personal. The clothes are provided by the church. I don't know if they get a salary. I really don't. But that's just crazy. I'm going to leave once you buy out my contract. What the hell? That just makes him more of a scumbag than I already think he is. Bach had said sent an email at the urging of the Covenant's leadership to the congregation about his retirement plans. And Rosenberg said his email rubbed some members of the church the wrong way. You think? I guess. church leadership asked Nashville Presbytery to get involved. Oh, damn, you got the big people involved now. Rosenberger said the Presbytery, a type of regional denominational oversight group, big word for the people that pay you, started an investigation. That's what you get, which led to a church trial. We have a church trial going on, ladies and gentlemen, all because this guy won't leave. We don't want you here. You're doing something bad. We want you to go. Give me more money. Give me my money, and I'll gladly leave. If you won't, give me my money for my contract, I ain't going nowhere, Jack. What the fuck? Oh, okay. You want to go that route? Okay. Yeah, we gotta have a church trial and a congregational vote. Oh. Huh? Oh. Bachman was found guilty of inflicting severe injury on the peace and purity of covenant, according to church documents. Did you hear that? He's guilty of inflicting severe injury on the peace and purity of covenant, according to church documents. On September 20, 2016, Nashville Presbytery, it censored Bachman by indefinitely suspending him from his office, which did not match the church's trial commission's recommendation. Oh, they're not playing with him. He's done something bad. Nearly a year later, the Nashville Presbytery's decision was overturned by a national church entity. It said that the Presbytery acted with prejudice, which it failed to follow the church's trial commission's recommendation, according to church documents. The guilty verdict remained intact, but Bachman, I don't know where I got Buchanan from, but Bachman was to be admonished and restored to a member in good standing to the National Presbytery. So y'all understand that even though he's not at the church allowed this, the church that he started now is the same type of church. So when they go to yearly and whatever meetings and have church get-togethers, they're all together because they're the same type of churches. Holy cow. Just got a bigger group of fans, a bigger group to play with, but it did not have any bearing of his employment with Covenant. By the time the congregation had already fired Bachman, a decision the National Presbytery upheld. They upheld it. You're fired, bro. The church did so in a closed vote during October 2016 congressional meeting. They are, see, just the kind of church why people don't go to churches anymore. This is a business that we're really talking about and saying we're using business type language. This is not God language. According to Bachman's supporters, who say the Presbyterian decision unfairly swayed the congregational vote, steamrolled over the denominational checks and balances. Oh my gosh. The representative who oversaw the congressional meeting says the congregation acted within their authority. He also thinks the church structures in place worked. The whole point of the process is to make sure that rights are protected, though. Paget said, that's a member of the board, in the course of time, the denomination and standing commission reversed Presbytery at Jim's appeal then his rights were protected. What the flip? What's wrong with these people? They got to fight to get you out. Whatever you got going on the shade, on the inside, you want to protect your secrets, I guess. And so that's one way how you're going to protect your secrets. You're going to protect it. So please don't kick me out. No, don't. You. He's like a cat going out in a rainstorm. He's got the claws out scratching the metal. He don't want to go. They had to fight to get him out. What in the... Bachman supporters want the presbytery to apologize to their pastor, as well as the congregations of the covenant and the new church. This is something the presbytery would consider taking up, Paget said, but he would be a bit surprised if they did. He is unsure if a motion would pass, but he would really like to see the presbytery and Bachman shake hands over something. The presbytery is looking at what happened too. You hear this, right? Something happened. We're gonna let you open a new church where you can do something else to happen. But here you cashed out here, bro. You cashed out. You can't stay here. You done went too far. Catholic churches, they moved the priest to another church. So this is not that uncommon, you know? It's not. So Bachman moved from Chattanooga in 91 to lead Covenant Presbyterian Church, and at that time the church barely had 40 members. Under Bachman's leadership, the congregation grew to more than 2,000. By the late 2000s, they were able to raise funds internally to build a $15.5 million sanctuary on the hilltop overlooking southwest Nashville. Do you hear me talking now? This is what it's all about. It's all about that green. The 1,100 seat sanctuary, designed into a neo-Gothic architectural style with a stone wall and a stunning stained glass, is a part of the church's larger campus that includes the school. A four-story pipe organ that costs $1.8 million is the focal point of the church. Now, Bachman, 63, is leading a new congregation that meets on Sundays in one of the city's public elementary schools. Get them while they're young. In the aftermath of Bachman's termination, Rosenberger and more than 375 church members and elders eventually left Covenant and followed him to the new church. Y'all didn't see that coming? Really? Y'all didn't see that coming? Come on now. You seen it coming. Wasn't that hard? The new church is formed. Together they formed Westminster Chapel, an independent church, not a part of the Presbyterian Church in America. Oh, he created a church now where no rules apply. What's the matter, bro? You didn't like them rules of the Presbyterian Church weren't working with what you were trying to do? Oh, okay. The congregation's roots in the evening Bible study from the summer of 2016. Today, the congregation numbers are about 400 people, currently worship about a mile and a half from the Covenant at Julia Green Elementary School. You know, and why does that just make you uncomfortable to hear that? Roseberger says, I'm excited about the new opportunities we have at Westminster. Roseberger plans to play the piano at Westminster Chapel just as he did at Covenant, and it just made sense for him to follow to the new church. So, did y'all, you know, if you got to go back and listen to this, I understand that was a lot of information all at one time. But this guy right here, the ex-pastor at that school, Jim Bachman, he claimed that she was receiving private sessions from the current pastor of the school, Chad Scruggs. And because of the evidence of abuse in 2014, Wade Burleson, who detailed how a leading layman in Covenant Presbyterian Church, the man who designed the Covenant School logo, hello, with the Latin phrase Verterius Christo et Ecclesia, truth for Christ and the church, was facing persecution from church leaders whom he accused of covering up sexual abuse of minors by a deacon in the church. That alleged abuse happened in the early mid-2000s, which would have corresponded with the time this week's 28-year-old school shooter was in the school and perhaps the church. You got that? Some things are just real close to, oh, that could be true, but I mean, that might not be true. It might just look that way. You know, that fact that the guy was there, and, you know, people said there was sexual abuse, and the girl was 8 years old, and now she's 28 years. Why would someone at 28 years old be seeking counseling from the very... Come on. Let's not play. I'm looking at this little girl right here. And this little girl died, and her dad was giving counseling, according to many news sources I've already said the names of. My wonder, because I do not know the I don't know the give me a second. I think this picture is old, not really. Yeah, I think the little girl is older than they said in any well, she's 9 years old, and obviously she's not 9 years old in this picture. it's a little confusing in one of these other pictures, which I'm trying to find it for you guys. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that. I know I probably just broke some eardrums. I hit my microphone. Sorry. I'm trying to find a picture of the daughter. I don't want a news source. I just want to find a picture of her. Because is that? I think she's the one who pulled the fire extinguisher. I mean, the fire alarm, and I'm not sure if that's the way I can. Okay, let me see. Why did they show all these kids, all three of them? Now, why are you showing like all these like 4 and kindergarten grade? Or that all, or I mean, I just noticed that, but because either my ain't good, my eyes ain't good, but this little girl in this picture, where is it? Here. Sorry, this little girl don't look 9 years old. The boy in the white shirt next to her might be, but not her in this particular picture. So, why can't I have a picture of how old a girl currently? There's just a lot of stuff going on with this. It's not just about the church. There's a lot of stuff going on also in this time. And like after shooting, conservatives, even in the Covenant Church, was influence of speculation about the shooting was a hate crime against Christianity. And I'm sure everybody, I told you I had to dig into this real deep. And I'm just sure that everybody doesn't know everything that's going on, because this is a pretty big, thing. But, trying to get it as a hate crime against Christianity is a broader push by the Republicans in Tennessee, a state legislature, to eliminate LGBTQ friendly events. Some use the shooting as a rally cry to double down on legislation, placing the blame for the shooting not on the people's ability to access firearms, but on the existence of transgender people who make up a masculine, minuscule percent of mass shooters nationwide. What the? According to the Williams Institute Research Center, around 0.6% Americans age of 13 identify as transgender. Hopefully we'll get the manifesto. Nashville Police Chief John Drake says, we have the manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this date, and we have a map of it all drawn out. there's right now a theory that we maybe can talk about later. It's not confirmed. How big is this? Is this like the Gone with the Wind book? Because you sure can't seem to get it out there. Hmm. Hmm. Scruggs made a single statement on Tuesday morning. He's the father of the 9-year-old girl that was killed. But the newspaper wrote, but he's got 3 more children left. I don't know who does shit like that. Through the tears, we trust that she is in the arms of Jesus, who will rise her to life once again. I think that applies not only to his daughter, but applies to the sons of that. That applies to everybody, all 7 people. You know, you can sit there and you can say to yourself and hate this person all you want. But God's writing down that too. He's writing down how much hate you have inside you, how much hate you disclose. You don't want to get along with people. You don't want to accept something that's a good majority all over the United States. If you don't want to call someone what they ask you to call them, just out of sheer, ignorance, I guess. That's cool. Just say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And then if they say, why not? You know what? I can call you. Say, I understand. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're going through. I'm sorry. I just can't. It's just, I just can't follow what you want me to do, and I apologize. And turn around and walk away. It doesn't have to be a big thing. And if you can, then good for you. Good for you for swallowing your little pride pill to treat somebody like a human being. Aiden hadn't been on this path very long, from my understanding of all the articles I've read. Be like, I can see that though, when knowing that he wasn't even safe to be transgendered inside his own home. I guess Aiden didn't see anywhere safe to be. Maybe that's the reason this happened. I hope tonight you will say a little prayer. I hope tomorrow you will wake up to be better than you were today. And may we all find an inner peace. And may God bless us all.